We are in the studio now, and we're just going to start off with introducing our next guests. I get to move my camera over here just a little bit to catch these lovely ladies here. We're pleased to be joined in the studio by Allison Stump, who is the Students for Life coordinator in the Catholic in the Toledo Diocese as part of Catholic Charities, correct? And then also the other young lady is someone who I know extremely well. It's my daughter, Bekah. And so she's here to talk a little bit about Students for Life too. So Allison, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners and let us know a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Deacon and Kim. Deacon, I wonder, is there a way in the church you're supposed to address a deacon? I know for the Pope it's Holy Father, or a bishop's Your Excellency. Like, what do I call you?
You just call me Deacon.
Deacon? Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you, both of you, for your welcome. Like you already said, my name is Allison Stump. I am the Students for Life coordinator for Catholic Charities, Diocese of Toledo. So it's understanding I also just stuttered over it, so there's just a lot to say.
There is.
So I've been in this position for a little under a year now. It's been maybe 9, almost 10 months. Will be a year this coming July. So what do? I do a lot of things, and I'm still trying to figure that out because it's a brand new position in the Office for Life and Justice that I serve.
Okay.
Gosh, I don't even know what to say about it. I became part of this ministry when I was coming to an end of a year of service when I was living in Chicago. And I was trying to pray about, like, Lord, am I supposed to give another year? This is a pro-life organization. I have a great community. I love my faith community there. Was attending St. John Cantius there, downtown Chicago. It's beautiful liturgy. And I was just saying, Lord, for some reason, I feel like there's this air of completion, but I'm not sure why. Am I supposed to come back home to my own diocese, be closer to my family? And I, one day out of the blue, get a call from Peter Range, Peter Range, who I had previously been working for as an intern when I was in university studies at Walsh University. But we stayed connected, but I hadn't heard from him for a long time. So it was interesting to just get a call from him out of the blue. And I was actually trying to do some food prep and preserve things in the house to be a good steward of the donations we get. And I answer the phone. He says, Allison, I've done it. Now, for anybody who knows Peter Range, you know that you probably get a little bit scared, also a little bit excited, because he's very much a visionary. He has these big, outrageous plans, which are really beautiful and amazing, but also it's going to take some work. So I was like, okay, what did you do, Pete? I'm a little scared, but let's hear it. And he said, Allison, I have been begging and working to get a student position, or to serve students in the Diocese of Toledo for 6 or 7 years now. I finally have the approval from the bishop. I have the funding, and I want you to fill it. So I just kind of paused. I'm still stirring this pot of food that I was making vegetable stock or something. And I said, okay, before I just say yes, would you like to tell me what the job description is? What am I doing? So long story short, he explained it. We went through this process of discernment, but I guess that kind of brings me back to what I'm supposed to be saying is, what do I do? The main thing is I just really work to walk alongside students, and it boils down to helping foster saints. That's my main mission. It's not necessarily in my job description, but how do I do that? I guess that's my why, right? But my how is walking alongside students, offering mentorship through accessible, really relevant, beautifully made resources. I kind of act as a liaison between the Diocese of Toledo and Students for Life of America, which is a really great organization that exists only to serve students. They don't make any money off of it necessarily. All of the resources are funded through the generosity of donors. So they don't charge student groups to a fee to be part of their club or something like that. It's just they give these resources as a framework, a really fleshed out framework, and tons of training opportunities and mentorship and support. And students like Bekah can use that as much or as little as they see fit, as would be most beneficial for their own specific community. So I kind of offer those things and say, here's how you utilize these resources. I can get you connected with people within Students for Life. I can even help recommend you to become part of their fellowships if you want to go further as a college student or a young adult. But I just kind of offer truth, goodness, and beauty as much as possible in my own imperfect way. But it's really the students who are doing all of the work. Students like Bekah, or students like Emma or Allison, who go to Tiff and Calvert, who I'll just call them out because they were my first and Carly from Tiffin as well. They were my first students that I actually encountered in my position who went from having nothing in their school in terms of a pro-life group. Maybe they went to the March for Life in the past, or maybe they did this specific event every year as a school, but they never really had a dedicated club to this sort of a ministry to help defend the dignity of every human life, preborn to, natural death, that kind of thing. But they went from having nothing to now they're active. And all it took was someone just saying, you can do this. There are resources to make it happen, and I'm going to walk with you every step of the way. So I guess that's kind of a nutshell. I just, show them ways that they can take ownership of something that is so much bigger than themselves, and just fly. I guess I don't know how else to say it, but yeah.
Okay.
So, Allison, do you work with high school students, college students? Yes, both?
All of the above.
All the
Anybody
above.
who will speak with me and who will listen and not throw tomatoes at me, whatever. I mean, even if they do, I guess that's fine. That almost happened when I gave a talk on contraception with the Ohio Regional Coordinator for Students for Life, but actually it wasn't a total unsuccess. God worked in it. But I've worked with students as young as 4th grade all the way up through college and young adult. So my main area, I guess the highest concentration of student population would be junior high and high school, of course. But I find that the college students are really awesome to work with because they're at that age. They usually have their own car that's easier for them to get around and come to the events. They're at the age where maybe they started doing things in high school and they already kind of did all that grunt work by themselves. I wish I could have been there to help them as younger students. But they're ready to go, and they just need someone to support them too. So I love working with all of the ages for different reasons. So yeah.
Yeah, and you said that that Peter had this vision, right? And he says, you're the person that I think should do it. So you said yes. What can you tell me or tell us about what was his vision for this? And you're trying to realize that, but since he's no longer there, you're kind of trying to work that on your own, right?
Yeah, I mean, by the grace of God, it often feels like it's in spite of myself trying to realize this, basically Peter's baby. But I think his vision was very much, we want to, in a way that we've never done before, reach the pro-life generation, because Peter did probably the equivalent of 5 full-time jobs just by himself, because that's just Peter. He's awesome. I don't know how he does it. He has a bunch of guardian angels keeping him awake 25 hours a day, basically. Yeah. But his hope was to, more than just the general pro-life ministry that he's doing, he wanted to be able to dedicate a more of a focus towards students in a way that he was not able to currently do, as just himself. Like he was able to already go out and meet with adult pro-life clubs and committees, things like that, give tons of speeches and presentations and things like that throughout the year. But it was hard for him to just meet every single population, right? So this is something that has been very close to his heart for a long time. He always wished he had more time just to go and be with students, be with those young people as more of a preemptive action, saying before we actually get to the point in our lives where we have to ask these difficult questions, let's give them the answers, because they're going to be asking these questions. Students care about these issues. Everybody wants to talk about, these hot button topics. Everybody's talking about it on social media, on the news, in the movies, things like that. And everybody has opinion, but unfortunately, too many people don't know why they have that opinion. So that was Peter's goal, and that's really my goal, is to say, okay, obviously, it's every person's choice how they're going to receive and act on the truth given to them, but we have a responsibility to share that truth, and we want to do that before it becomes an issue of, oh no, I made a mistake. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah.
You're listening to Allison Stump here on Holy Family Radio. Allison is the Students for Life coordinator for Catholic Charities at the Diocese of Toledo. All right, I got it right. This is our spring pledge drive. And so we're interrupting your regular programming. Normally, you'd still be listening to the Divine Mercy Chaplet, I think, at this time.
Divine Mercy Chaplet would have wrapped up about 6 minutes ago.
Okay, I was close.
But you're close. It's the right time of day.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we
the hour
apologize.
of mercy, 3 o'clock.
So we apologize for interrupting that beautiful programming, but it is Spring Spirit time. It's that one time per year that we take a break and from the regular programming, and we ask you, dear listeners, to partner with us in supporting the station and helping it grow. Give us a call, won't you, at 888-287-0655. That's 888-287-0655. I think we still have some matching funds on the table right now.
We do.
So you'll want to take advantage of that and give us a call. Allison, well, either one of you, I guess, whoever you think's appropriate to take this question, because we also have Bekah Compton with us, and she started, right? Am I right about that? Started the local Students for Life chapter. What is involved if somebody's out there, high schoolers have just gotten out of school, we might have a high schooler listening right now, or college students, if they're interested in starting up a chapter of Students for Life, what do they do?
What I definitely did was I got in contact with the actual Students for Life Organization of America, and I just I emailed because I knew one person, Jordan Mormon. I knew him. He talked to us a few times, and so he gave me his email and all his contact information. So I contacted him, and then he gave me emails of just a bunch of other people in the Students for Life group who gave me a bunch of advice on what to do, how to start it, and it was really nice and really helpful. So then all I had to do was really just take those steps and just kind of jump to asking the questions to the school on how to do all these exact stuff at our specific school.
Yeah, that makes sense. Go ahead. It looks like you have something to add there.
I guess
Allison?
I always have things to add, for better, for worse. So please always cut me off if I'm, being overbearing or something. But this is a perfect example. I just want to touch on everything that Bekah just said, because the beauty of the Students for Life model that praise God, I'm able to share with students like her is that it really is a student initiative. I can go into any school in the diocese and just say, we're starting a pro-life club starting May 1st or something like that. But unless we actually are able to foster an interest and a desire in the students and a fostering of that leadership and walking with them and that helping them be a catalyst of something they already have, it's not going to be sustainable, right? So this is a perfect example of someone who understands and has a passion for the dignity of every human life, wants to bring an end to abortion, wants to expose the evil of abortion in a way that is relevant and approachable for other people, to change minds and hearts and save lives. And all I have to do is just walk with them and support them and just say, hey, here's this framework if you want to use it. But ultimately, this is what you guys are doing. This is your thing. So, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, when did you get started with it, Bekah?
I got started with it around around the fall time. I think we had 3 non-official meetings. So it's anyone can come, listen. It was you, and then Jordan talked 2 other times. And then I asked the principal for just how do we start it? Can we start it? Is this possible? I asked her, and she was like, yeah. And so we got a room, and we got official permission to be able to do it. So I put up posters and the announcements. I did some advertising. And that's when we started our official meetings. And we actually had a good chunk of people come.
That's great. That is great. Have you been able to do things other than meetings? Did you take the group to the March for Life? Did you, what sort of things have you been doing?
I know I have a close group of friends who are in Students for Life who go to the March for Life with me around every year. We've gone since 6th grade, every year. And so...
Well, you've only been in existence for a little bit. If that's if that's all you can remember, that's fine. It's not a test, but we appreciate hearing about that. You're listening to the Holy Family Radio Spring Spirit Drive. Give us a call, 888-287-0655, 888-287-0655.
That's right. So while this is not easy to do, but it would seem to me that starting just another club should be okay, yes, you get the right permissions and everything else, but it was not easy, was it, in terms of acceptance by everybody, was it?
No, actually, when I put up the signs in the hallways, I know for sure that there was a lot of people talking about it in the school. Like, it just started everything from people trying to argue against it, posting it on their stories, like, how could they do this? Like, why are they doing this? And then there were some people who were like, I'm going. Like, the people who come now, like, regularly, except for obviously they have sports, they come, they come.
Yeah. So was there talk of, people disrupting or protesting the group?
They were thinking about. I know there was some like rumors here and there, but I don't think they'll actually do it. But there was some talk of maybe we could do this and this, but
yeah, I
doubt they'll actually like act on it.
So I mean, some intimidation perhaps.
Yeah.
That was in place. So that's sort of interesting to me because that is kind of reflects the overall general culture itself, right? And the fact that as much as we are pro-life and respect the dignity of all human life, there are many who don't want to see that for whatever reason. It doesn't seem to compute in my mind. So, yeah, how would you encourage other students in other schools in the area to attempt to do this?
I would definitely just say either, get in contact with someone from Students for Life like Allison for like general information, or, find people like us, other high school students who started this, and get advice from them, and just kind of go around and ask people whether it's like you're a close group of friends, or whether it's people you don't even know but you still like know they're pro-life, or like even if they're not pro-life, just kind of talk to them and start conversations with them. Right.
So what happens at an actual meeting? What do you kind of do? What do you kind of go over?
We introduce new people, obviously. And then we have kind of an outline of just general line of business. We kind of, at least last meeting, we started planning what events we wanted to do in the next year. So we have like going to the park and like picking up trash and kind of like advertising that we're here. We're a thing at Ottawa for other high schoolers who want to come. And we have like other groups. Like I know earlier this month we had the pro-life garage sale. Okay. And we had a member of ours, she was involved in that. She bought stuff from it, and that I'm pretty sure goes to the Putnam County Right to Life, I think. Okay. So we just generally try to just be in anything we can in general and just get involved. Okay. Help out.
Do you go over current news and events, things that are happening in the media to make awareness?
Yeah, we definitely, with our own group, we definitely just kind of see all the current news on pro-life things.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Yeah, that's very informative. And, for anyone that hasn't been involved in that sort of thing during that time in their life in particular, it's great to hear that those resources are available through your help, Allison, and pointing them towards it and walking along with them, and that there are students out there like you, Bekah, that are interested in starting something like that up and fostering it and nurturing it. And, we always talk about planting seeds. So thank you for your work in that area. It's crunch time, Holy Family Radio listeners. You need to give us your call at 888-287-0655. That's 888-287-0655. We only have a few hours left.
2.5.
3 days of full-time radio, essentially. Don't you know it? Because we've interrupted your regular programming, and you are so tired of listening to our voices.
Yep.
We're even more tired of listening to our own voices than you are.
Absolutely.
So we understand. So help us close this out as a successful drive, because we sure don't want to have to come back and ask again until next year. We really have tried to keep it to once a year. So donate online through our app, Holy Family Radio app, through the website, holyfamilyradio.fm, or give us a call, 1-888-287-0655.
888-287-0655. 888-287-0655. We had a couple of pledges come in. One for a parishioner from St. John's in Glandorf. We thank you for that donation. And also a donation from the Greg and Jill Zeller family over at St. Michael's in Kalida. Thank you so much. Every little bit helps, folks. Every little bit helps. And when you call in and leave your donation, we ask for what we can share on the air. We won't share names, we won't share amounts or anything else like that unless you request that we can. Okay, so you remain completely anonymous to all those folks out there, amounts and everything else. So don't worry about that. If we're going to let something slip, that's not going to happen here.
Right. Yeah. I think our volunteers even ask, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
They ask. So you don't even have to say, please say my name, please don't say my name. They will ask to confirm that your wishes are met on that. Some people feel that having their name mentioned actually can inspire other people.
Right.
And say, oh, I know that person well. If they're giving, maybe I should give too. And other people want to remain anonymous. So we respect whatever your wishes are. We just want to encourage you to partner with us, to join the family of Holy Family Radio and support Catholic radio, your Catholic radio in your part of this world. 888-287-0655. 888-287-0655. So we have in studio here Allison Stump. She is the Students for Life coordinator with Catholic Charities for the Diocese of Toledo, as well as Bekah Compton, who started up a Students for Life chapter, do we say?
I would say a club.
A club, okay.
Yeah.
A Students for Life club at Ottawa-Glandorf, right? Ottawa-Glandorf High School. So what would you say have been some of the biggest challenges that either one of you have faced in this area of work?
Oh gosh. I mean, challenges are always abundant, and I think that is often a good indication that you're doing something right and that you're doing God's work. Because if you're serving the Lord and you're being faithful to something he's asking of you, the enemy doesn't like that. So of course he's going to stir the pot. So that's something that keeps me going, to never become discouraged or despair when things inevitably come up where I stutter through my whole presentation. It seems like none of the students got anything out of it. Well, the enemy wants me to think that way, so I'm discouraged from continuing the ministry. So I think my biggest obstacle, in my work as Students for Life coordinator is basically myself, overcoming my own fears, my own pride, my own, I guess, just desire either for prestige and like doing things for the wrong motivations. Even something like speaking on the radio. Am I doing it to share an important and worthy message, or am I doing it to be like, oh wow, I have however many people are on the radio, people are listening to my voice. I'm not, I would never want that to be the case, but these are the thoughts that the enemy tries to put in your head to spoil a really beautiful thing. So I'd say that's an obstacle, but it's something that by God's grace, I'm able to recognize for what it is. And something that really helps overcome that, I would say, is before I go on any presentation or before I go out to the abortion facility in Toledo, or before I meet with any student, I just pray in the morning, Lord, help me encounter the one person you want me to meet today. Whether I encounter 400 students in a school, or I meet one student who wants to have a conversation, or one parishioner who has a question, I want to be faithful to that person that you put in my path today. And that keeps things a lot better perspective. So I would say that's probably the biggest obstacle. So what about you, Bekah?
Yeah, that's always an obstacle for, honestly, any person. But if I honestly have any, obstacles, like someone's trying to argue with me or rile me up on pro-life topics at any day, like at school with other students, I will generally just tell them, if I don't know an answer, I'll tell them honestly, I don't know. I'll look into it, though, and I'll get back to you on that. And then I go and I either look it up, or I go and I ask my mom, who's also been fighting this for a while. I go ask her, and she gives me honest answers that she thinks, and then we kind of have a long conversation about an hour long, just about different things in the pro-life movement. And it honestly helps me because it gives me more information on what to do and what I should be telling people, and all that kind of stuff.
Very good.
If I could just, kind of add on that, that's something really beautiful. I don't know I'm sure you probably already knew that before I kind of brought it up in passing last time we met for your first club meeting or second one, because I missed the first one like a crazy person. But there's a lot of beauty in the way that the pro-life movement operates today versus maybe a few decades ago, or right in the wake of Roe v. Wade. That some of the methods, while they were well-meaning, were not always the most approachable or effective in reaching hearts and changing lives for women. Sometimes they could be a little bit more standoffish, or like linking arms in front of an abortion facility. While I can empathize with that, and I would be tempted to do that if it were legal for me to go on the property. Are we allowing women to feel comfortable approaching us to ask for help, or are we just scaring them away? You know, so I think it's really beautiful to hear young people like Bekah say, I guess with the humility and the genuineness that she really comes off with, just saying, it's okay that I don't have the answer right now. I'm not just in it to win an argument. I'm here to share the truth. And if I'm not aware of the truth in a way that I can share it effectively in that moment, just give me a moment. I will go find somebody I can trust. I will find a verifiable resource for you, and I'll come back with you, and we can have a real dialogue. I think that's something that's very different about, well, not entirely different, but something that is really beautiful about the way pro-life advocacy has developed just in the last couple of years. I wish I would have known more about when I was her age. So yeah, I'm just very proud of you, Bekah. You're awesome.
Yeah, I think you're so right. You know, you see, or I've seen and I've heard from many people about, you know, the very confrontational styles that have been out there, and, you know, graphic pictures, damning messages, you know, and it all that does is put up walls. Yeah, it just puts a, you know, there may be truth in it, but if you're not giving the truth with charity,
right,
then you might as well not even bother, because the wall is up, and it is up high.
Exactly.
With people.
Yeah.
So that's really great to hear that, you know, you have so many resources in that area, and that you're able to, you know, offer those resources to the students so they can really demonstrate that, you know, we're not here to yell at you, and we're not here to shame you. We're here to help you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's really fitting that maybe we did, unfortunately, interrupt the hour of mercy, you know, like 3:00, but how fitting that we would be having this conversation during the hour of mercy, because that's really what we're trying to offer, is that love and that redemption, and the hope that we find in Jesus Christ. Of course, you can make a pro-life argument without bringing in a spiritual answer, a spiritual solution. But I think if you want to follow it to its logical end, God is always at the root and the motivation for why we are pro-life, because logic and reason can only go so far. We can't really understand why a person has dignity and why they have that irrevocable worth and why they're made in the image and likeness of God, unless you connect it with that divine relation, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're very, very right. I mean, and everything you said. Yeah. You can make an argument outside of religion and faith, but you do eventually get to a point where you know, they ask for or push for explanation for the why, and or you get the moral relativism of, that's all great, that's what you believe. I respect your position, but you know, et cetera, and you know how those arguments go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been really happy, even as I've taken this position, I've grown a lot in my own understanding of how to defend my own pro-life position, with resources like Students for Life or Live Action, or just like all these different pro-life organizations that do a really good job, way better than I could, of explaining some of these really difficult questions that people pose. And sometimes they can, at face value, the arguments that people who would consider them pro-choice or pro-abortion offer, they can seem plausible, like in the case of rape or incest. Or medical necessity for the life of the mother. At the outset, we want to empathize with that.
Of course.
Recognize these are very horrific and challenging situations. We want to reverence that. But ultimately, we need to recognize that these arguments do not follow logically. So that's something that I really love about, you know, how much I've learned and now I've been able to share with other people, is that we're able to offer a lot of different kinds of arguments depending on the audience of people that we're speaking with. You know, so there is a variance, and we have lots of tools to use. So I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. If you just tuned in, we're with the Students for Life group here. Allison Stump from the Students. She is the Students for Life coordinator with Catholic Charities out of the Diocese, or for the Diocese of Toledo. And then we also have Bekah Compton, who started a club. I wanted to say chapter again.
Yes.
Club, a Students for Life club at Ottawa Glandorf High School. It's your spring spirit drive here on Holy Family Radio. Give us a call, please, 888-287-0655. That's 888-287-0655. You can go online. You probably have heard it from us, holyfamilyradio.fm, as well as our new app out there, which is available for listening and streaming and making your donation as well. How we doing?
We're making some progress. We have fulfilled that $1,600 matching fund now.
Yay!
So congratulations.
Hey, can I ring the bell?
Absolutely. Let's ring the bell. Why not?
Yeah.
We need to celebrate when we can, right?
That's right.
Especially on a day like today, like it has been. So, want to thank a couple more parishioners from St. John's of Glandorf for their donations. So we are still looking for a lot more, really,
Yeah.
and there's still some time. All right, and there is still phone lines available for you to call right now and speak to one of our volunteers who are waiting and ready to take your pledge, your donation. 888-287-0655, 888-287-0655. That's 888-287-0655. Now I've got a question, and it has to do with the number of I want to say chapters again. How many clubs have there now been formed since you've come along into this whole effort? I mean, are we talking 1, 2, or 15?
Somewhere between there. I should have looked at that specific number before I came, but to give you an estimate, there were a couple of student groups that existed before I came. Like University of Toledo already had a Students for Life club. When I started. They were already very active, so I just kind of plugged in and offered my help where necessary. But I think since I've started, there may be 7 to 10 official groups, and then I would say another 10 to 12, I would say, pending groups that are planning for the fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have most of those been in Catholic schools, or are we talking secular schools as well?
Mostly Catholic schools, because that's my primary audience. But then we have schools like Bekah's, Ottawa Glandorf, that are public, or there's a public school down in Findlay where a student, she's just about to graduate, just reached out and said, hey, I hear that this is a resource that's being offered. I really want to get something started, but I'm about to graduate, but I still want to let this be part of my legacy before I graduate and go off to college. So it's a mixture of both. Actually, now I had a woman reach out to me who is Protestant, non-denominational. She wants to get involved in Erie County, maybe start a community Students for Life club. So basically, the sky's the limit. I'm happy to speak with whoever wants to work with me. Of course, I'll never compromise on the beauty of the Catholic faith and the fullness of that truth. But the message is for everybody. This is a human rights issue, so that's something that can go anywhere.
Yeah. And that's a great opportunity for evangelization. I like to say quiet evangelization, because I've heard people say that they got to know some amazing Catholics through the pro-life movement, and that those folks dispelled some of the beliefs that they had about the Catholic Church. So that is a beautiful opportunity that God has placed in your lap, and I'm excited for you that you have the chance to work in that particular garden there.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
wonderful.
You look at people like Abby Johnson, who started out as someone who ran one of the most prolific, I would say infamous, abortion centers in, I think, Texas, right? But she finally
one of the top ones in the U.S.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But she was inspired by the people who were just infuriatingly out in front of the outside of the center there, day in and day out. But they were peaceful and different from the other ones who were dressed in, like the Grim Reaper hoods and being, being
confrontational
and
all that. Yeah.
Harsh, accusative.
Yeah,
right.
not what we want to be as pro-lifers, right? She was inspired by those people, so she changed. She left her job there, became pro-life, but through that ministry, through that witness, she not only became Christian, but she was inspired by that Catholic faith, and now she's a very staunchly faithful Catholic too, very devout. So.
Yeah.
It's one of those great blessings that can come out of difficult situations. Now it's about 10 till 4, so this is kind of like your opportunity to give the last word in case there's something that we didn't ask. But I also know you need to get out of here because you got an event tonight to go to. Yeah,
this is a busy weekend. We're very blessed to be offering 2 events through the same organization this weekend. Tonight, actually, at St. Peter and Paul Parish here in Ottawa, we'll be offering the next installment of our Academy for Life series. So it's an ongoing formation opportunity for students and their pro-life leaders. This one's open to the community. So we'll be welcoming Natalie Sonnen from Healing the Culture to give us some really helpful and engaging pointers on how to have pro-life conversations that are effective and meaningful. Basically kind of going off of some really great philosophical ideas, or like the 5 levels of happiness. I'm really looking forward to that, hoping to have a really great and engaging crowd. But tomorrow, same thing starts in the morning. We'll be heading down to the University of Findlay and doing basically a more intensive version of tonight's talk, specifically for and only for college students. So that'll be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it'll be several hours of learning how to immersing yourself in how to have pro-life conversations and debunk pro-abortion arguments, things like that. And like if you're sitting on a plane and someone asks you about the precious feet pin you're wearing, how do you just strike up a conversation that way and actually reach somebody's heart just off the cuff like that?
Right.
I actually went through the training myself when I was a student at Walsh University, and it was a really game changer. So I'm very excited to be welcoming healing to culture to walk with us this way. So
fantastic.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yep. So anything else? Any last words before we let you go?
Yes, actually, I do want to make an announcement. It just became public, I think, in the last couple of weeks. Ohio, for the first time in our state's history, will be hosting its first statewide March for Life down in Columbus in October. So I want to already put that out there. Please save the date on your calendars. I'm really hopeful that the Diocese of Toledo will have a huge part in helping plan this, because Peter Range is working right down there in Columbus as well. So we have that connection with Aaron Bear as well for Citizens for Christian Values, I think is what they're called now, CCV. But that will be Wednesday, October 5th. I think the rally will be at 11 or 12, and then we'll march at the state capitol around 12 or 1. So mark your calendars. We want to get at least 10,000 people there. I think we can do it. Ohio is a very pro-life state, and we want to make that known to our legislators. And the date and the time that the march will be happening was intentionally set so that the legislators will be in session, so they have to hear our voice that day. So very excited to be hopefully taking at least one bus down to Columbus that day and trying to really promote it, to get as many students down there as possible, even though it is during a school day. You know, like this is an important thing, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really excited about that.
Okay. Fantastic. Well,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll let you go, and thank you again for coming in. That was Allison Stump and Bekah Compton coming in talking about Students for Life and all the pro-life work being done here in the Diocese of Toledo. So now is your opportunity. We got a break to take us up to the top of the hour at 4 o'clock. I see our next guests have walked into the green room over there, so we're happy to see them. It's a couple of sisters from the Dominican Sisters of Mary, Mother of the Eucharist, from over at the Findlay Mission, the campus over there at St. Michael's. So pleased to have them to come in next. And but right now is a perfect opportunity for you to call at 888-287-0655, 888-287-0655.
We're very, very close to the last 2 hours of this year's Spring Spirit Drive. The one time per year we interrupt your programming and ask you to partner with us in this media ministry to bring more souls to Christ in His church, to proclaim the truth over the airways, and to provide resources. You know, we spoke with Allison and Rebecca about resources that they make available. And that's kind of how I view Catholic radio in a lot of ways. You know, it's a resource for people to turn to. There's so much catechesis that, you know, that happens there. And so many opportunities to learn things about our faith and to grow in our faith. And it's needed to fight against this culture. So give us a call, won't you, and pledge your best gift. 888-287-0655. You can go to holyfamilyradio.fm as well as our new app, Holy Family Radio app, to make an online donation. But we love hearing from you, so pick up that phone and give us a call, 888-287-0655. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we will have our final in-studio guests, sisters, the Dominican Sisters of Mary, Mother of the Eucharist.
Yep. All right. Talk to you soon.